Walter looked at him long and hard. "You're a good man, Tom Parker. A rare kind." Tom chuckled, trying to make light of it. "Just doing what I can." "You have no idea, do you?" Walter said quietly. He motioned for Tom to follow him inside. There, in a back room Tom had never entered, was a desk covered in paperwork. Bank statements, legal documents, photographs, and one particularly large file with a company name Tom didn't recognize. "I'm not just an old man," Walter began. "Years ago, I built a company from nothing. Sold it for millions. But I lost my wife, then my son. The money stopped matching. I gave most of it away. Then people stopped coming around. I got tired of wondering who cared about me and who cared about what I had." Tom stood frozen. "You came here with empty pockets but a full heart. You gave me your time when you had none to spare. That's worth more than gold." He handed Tom a letter. Tom unfolded it with trembling hands. It was a deed. A small but beautiful house, not far from the neighborhood. Paid in full. In his name. "Consider it a new start," Walter said. "You gave me hope when I thought I had nothing left. This is my way of giving some of that hope back." Tom couldn't speak. He felt the tears before he realized they were falling. That night, he told his kids. They jumped up and down, hugged him tighter than they had in months. It wasn't just a house, it was the first sense of stability they'd had in years. Weeks later, Tom invited Walter over for dinner. The old man smiled as he sat at the table, surrounded by laughter, warmth, and life. Walter passed away the following spring, peacefully in his sleep. In his will, he left instructions for a trust fund for Tom's children and a letter that simply said, "Never stop showing up." The world needs more of that. Tom kept that letter in his wallet. Whenever things got hard again, and they did, he read it. Because sometimes, the smallest act of kindness plants the seeds for a miracle. And sometimes, helping someone fix their roof means you end up rebuilding your own life. The message? Kindness costs nothing but time, yet it's the most valuable currency we have. You never know what someone's carrying, or who they really are. But when you give from your heart, the return can be life-changing. The sky threatened rain the day Tom Parker found his life about to change, but not because of the weather. His arms ached from hauling lumber since sunrise, and his worn-out boots were soaked through from trudging across muddy ground. He had just finished a 12-hour shift on a construction site, only to come home to an empty fridge, 2 hungry kids, and a stack of unpaid bills. He barely noticed the drizzle starting again as he walked up the cracked sidewalk toward the small rental house they called home. It was a rough season. His wife had passed 2 years ago, and since then, every day felt like a test he wasn't sure he was passing. As he walked his usual shortcut through the neighborhood, he heard a thud followed by a loud groan. Instinctively, Tom turned to see an old man, maybe in his late 70s, struggling to climb down a ladder beside a worn, sagging house. The roof looked half-collapsed, and the man looked exhausted, gripping his side. "Hey, sir, are you okay?" Tom called out. The old man waved him off weakly, but his knees buckled. Without thinking, Tom rushed to catch him. "My name's Walter," the old man muttered, breathless. "Roof's got a leak. Can't afford the repairs. Been trying to patch it before the rain." Tom glanced up at the roof. One good storm would take the whole thing down. He knew he should head home. His kids were waiting. He had nothing left to give, not even time, but he also couldn't walk away. "Come on," Tom said gently. "Let's get you inside. I'll take a look at it." Walter's house was as weary as the man himself, dusty, cold, and sparse. But there was a quiet dignity about it. Old photographs lined the mantel, a woman with kind eyes, a younger Walter in military dress, and what looked like a child in a wheelchair. The air was heavy with untold stories. Tom spent the next hour patching the worst parts of the roof, using whatever tools Walter had in the shed. He didn't fix it completely, but he kept the rain out. By the time he climbed down, his hands were cut, and darkness had fallen. Walter handed him a mug of lukewarm coffee. "Why'd you do it?" he asked. "You don't even know me." Tom shrugged. "I guess. I know what it's like to feel like everything's falling apart. And nobody should have to go through that alone. Walter didn't say much else that night. Tom left with nothing but a quiet thank you and a nod. The next morning, Tom returned with his tools. He dropped the kids at school, skipped work, and showed up again. He kept showing up, every day for a week. He fixed the roof, sealed the windows, even cleaned up the yard. Walter never asked for help again, but he never stopped watching. Sometimes he'd bring Tom a sandwich, sometimes just sit nearby, silent but present. On the last day, Tom tightened the final shingle, stood back, and smiled. There. Should hold you a good while.